Remember this yesterday where we sucked in some sellers on this exact looking behavior, and then we got a decent long to the upside. Now, we don't just, hey, go long because it looks the same. The same applies. Do we see the sellers come in? We didn't up here. So what we saw is then the market shoot up. I reckon it's the same time as well. And look what just happened down here. See the selling finally came in, and now it's offside. And there's a reason why it looks the same. It occurred on big buying. What's happening in here? Someone accumulating big size. So once I joined the dots, I did get long. Does that mean it's going to happen the same way today? No, but at least it's a hypothesis. There's some substance to it. All right, so what do we know about this hypothesis thus far that I just came up with? Okay, it's working. Doesn't mean it'll continue working. This is a trap when you think it's working and you're suddenly convinced that you're super smart and you hang on to it. So what is a concern without question is all of those failures there. All right, so what's happening is my cushion gets bigger. While I got the cushion, this is when my eyes start looking at everything else that I can possibly take a cue from. I'm out. Cost me half a basis point. My focus area was this in here. So what I'm going to do is look for that trade from yesterday. There it is. That's it there. See it? See that similar behavior? Okay, so what's different? Well, for starters, look at the skew on that mother. That's not where we are at the moment, is it? Right, so that's the deal. So just knowing what happened there. Now, if you go back and have a look at the footprint, you'll know that there was a heap of buying that took place. See how there's such a difference in the skew? So here's a nice steep skew, came back in and got in, and this still carried it just enough to remember, create a cushion, etc., etc. But look at it now. Like, it's just, I don't want a part of it. The Dow started to pick up again. As this Dow starts to appreciate, we might see something come in and lift the market. So I'm looking for evidence. So what do we got? Buyers stepping at high prices. This hasn't broken down, so I need this to kind of start to shift. So you've got no edge trading in here, and the chances of you going on side and even getting a cushion are slim. Right, there's some covering. Okay, now I can focus on my second go. So what doesn't change is the fact that someone's been loading up in here on the long side. And yesterday they did this, same time too. Now, the market's not exactly the same every time, is it? But there's enough similarity. I'm back long because I'm trading a hypothesis. Okay, skew's now going. So I'm in here trading with momentum, on side, looking for the repeat of yesterday. See what happens. Now this second go might fail. In this time, so through here, see how it anchored itself to CME VWAP, couldn't break it. So it's a whole bunch of failures that we're running into at the moment. These ones here, I've put them in the 100 tick. So I've seen two thrusts upwards and no continuation, and I'm out again. Another small loss. Can't ignore this. So these failures over a broad period of time, and then you can see a whole ton of failed attempts to move lower here. I don't want to go short here, obviously. Okay, so I was wrong. I had two opportunities to get out once up here and the second one up here as well, which I didn't take because I was looking at something that happened yesterday, which is not what happened now. But notice that I got it wrong. It didn't get beaten up. So if I'm wrong on that, which the market's after that time, who cares? Second time, remember, happens once, who cares? Second time, second mouse, pay attention. I wouldn't have been the only trader to look at that. The world's just too big. Other traders would have been looking for that same move. So if we collectively are wrong, then of those who were wrong, not all of them would have got out. So that's a group to potentially get forced out. But I'm not going to assume the market is at this transition area and it's intact. So I'm not going short into that transition. But one of the good things about having losing trade, like now I know for the potential of, those in here and who didn't exit, who am I referring to? Well, look at all the buying in here. I know there's a big cat in there, but there's also a lot of smaller players as well. Potentially can feed on those when this goes pear-shaped. If they're still in it now, then they're not going to exit just because it's down here. It's going to have to move quite a bit further. So we'll just keep an eye on it. Here's a bit of them exiting, by the way, those longs, just a little bit. That's your weaker hands. I'm short. Why? Because we're in the pain threshold area. After what? Failures. Just here. Have a look, think about what the opportunity is. What's the time? Who's going to get caught? All those buyers that haven't liquidated yet. Some of them have. Hasn't got them all out, but what it has done is take the market lower, and that puts pressure on the others. That's maybe one of those big buyers gutting it. Not necessarily the whole trade, but if they're gutting their trade, there's probably some more pain here. So I'm flat. That's it. That's where I entered, not before. Not before I could see the group that I was targeting. All right, now why did I get flat? Because I know from an odds perspective where to get out.